Welcome to the Traitors Series 4 ranking video. Today we're going to be ranking all 22 players based on their gameplay and their strategy in the game. I'm going to be ranking purely on my opinion. If you disagree, just put in the comments below. But yeah, I hope we're going to have a nice video and a fun, cool video. Anyway, let's get on with it. Anyways, I'm just going to go through what each rank is, what it kind of contains. So the first one is iconic player. That's the best people. The next is amazing player. That's people are good, but they're not incredible, you know. Next is good player. That's people who did a couple of good moves, but people are kind of Next is got unlucky. It's just people that it wasn't their fault that they went, you know. Next is just meh, didn't really see anything from you. And then next is not enough time. That's just some of the people at the start who go. And then the last is bad player, just if you're not very good at the game. So let's get started. Okay, so first is Nettie. And I'm going to put Nettie in not enough time, just because she was only there for an episode, so we didn't really see anything from her. I saw from her I did though. She wasn't a bad player, I don't think, at all. She was a bit vocal, but she wasn't the best person to murder. She was the best out of a bad bunch to murder. So yeah. Next is Judy. I'm going to still put her in not enough time, even though I think we did see a lot of her. Yeah, she was only there for an episode and a half, but I did really enjoy her, and I felt kind of robbed when she left. I just felt bad for her. I think she was just the first banishment, and a lot of the time people just follow the crowd, and that was kind of sad. I liked her relationship with Roxy. I thought we could have had that a bit more. So there, I felt we kind of got robbed with Judy, but what I did see from her I really enjoyed. I just didn't think we saw enough of her. Next is Ben. Still putting him in not enough time, just because he didn't really do anything, if I'm going to be honest, except from he started the whole Library 5 thing, which was a massive thing in this series. Yeah, I just didn't really see that much from him. But, what I did see I enjoyed. But I just didn't see that much from him. He just kind of followed the crowd on the first round table, then he got killed the next night. So yeah. Next is Hugo. I'm putting him bad player. I don't know what he was doing. First of all, I don't know why he told people he was a barrister. He had to really be prepared to play if he was going to say that, and he just didn't. And then he kind of was really annoyed about the secret traitor, and then he did that whole thing at breakfast. That is beyond mean, which was as Harriet said, mate, step down. It was really, he just did it too much. And then he got on Harriet's bad side, and that he just didn't have a good defense to Harriet's strong attack, and that's kind of why he went, and he just did not have a good defense. He wasn't a very good traitor. He's probably one of the worst traitors in the show history. Next is Ross, and I'm going to put Ross in got unlucky. I used to put him up there. He definitely got unlucky. He started off with the whole Nettie thing, which did not help out at all. He saw her, that was not what he wanted to do. Unfortunately for him, she just went straight over and hugged him before he could do anything. The two murders that they made were directed towards him, and Rachel just kept on going after him, round table after round table after round table, and then she stumped him like that, and he just, I felt really bad for him. He needed just to the game a little bit better. I don't really know what he could have done to help out himself, really, but yeah. Next is Maz. Now I'm just going to put Maz in meh, because didn't really see too much of Maz. He didn't really do anything that was right. He just kind of was it's Jade. He did just get put in a cage, which I felt a little bad for. He wasn't saved. Didn't really see too much of him, to be honest, so he's just going in meh for me. What I saw of him was good, everyone else here. I didn't see anything horrible people. No one in this series was horrible at all. Next is Amanda. You're going right in bad player. You had 4 votes at the round table, and they were all for Jade, who was a faithful. You were a detective, and the one person you told was a traitor, and it wasn't. And as soon as she went around and told everyone, and everyone started taking your word as gospel, and did not help out the faithfuls, even though you said it was trying to. Spent your whole time attacking a poor faithful, and actually some other faithfuls as well, like Sam, and you thought it was Stephen, but you didn't tell anyone that, so you didn't really help out yourself there, Amanda. I'm really sorry. I did enjoy you. When I first watched you, I thought you were a bit annoying, but I think by the time you went, I did enjoy you. Yeah. Sorry, Amanda. Next is Reese. I'm just going to put you in meh or got unlucky. I'm putting you in got unlucky just because, I don't think he was a good player, because even though I know he had a really good explanation to not, putting us, talking about Rachel and Stephen by the family tree, he still didn't. He sat with 3 traitors on the train. He just got a bit unlucky that the fact that he almost got voted out on that round table, then he got put in a cage, and then he stayed in the cage, and then the next round table he got chest of chanced, And then he eventually just got murdered, and it just felt like everything was just going wrong for him, and he never had a chance to breathe. And that's kind of what his downfall was. But he was a great person. He was really entertaining as well. But yeah. Next is Fiona. Part of me wants to put her in bad player. Part of me wants to put her in iconic player. But I'm going to put her in good player. Because the fact that she got us fooled for... A lot of people fooled for 3 episodes that she wasn't even a traitor to us watching. I think she was playing a great game until she... I think Rachel's a traitor. And then that just completely like flopped her game. And she eventually... tanked her game, and she was too confident, and she was taking on too good of a traitor for her going good. And yeah, it just, I don't know, she just seemed a little bit like jealous, and she was trying to go out because she didn't think Rachel had Steven's back when she did, and she didn't have a good defense or anything. But she was good until she did that whole grenade, and that just completely flopped. But I am going to remember her, you know, she's one of the players I'm going to remember in the future. And I think she was good until she, went after Rachel, which was a big mistake. Next is Harriet, and I'm just going to move Harriet up to iconic player. Harriet was the best faithful in the series, probably tied with Jessie. But she had 6 votes at the round table, and 4 of them were for traitors. She voted for each traitor once, which was incredible. She was a little bit invisible the first 2 episodes, then she went in with the whole Hugo thing, and she did that so well, and she managed to get everyone on Hugo, and Hugo was banished. She was incredible with her speech on Hugo. It was so flawless and immaculate. Then she's a bit quiet for the next 2 episodes, and actually realised she didn't have a confessional in episodes 4 or 5. She was quite quiet in those episodes. And then in episode 6, she was like, I think Rachel is, and it's like, I'm going to keep my friends close but my enemies closer, which I thought was like, okay, let's see what she does with this. And then she walks into that confessional and she's like, Rachel, I know you're in there. And then that was just like the best TV moment ever. And Harriet was incredible. And she was just so good. And then she just tanks her game at breakfast with the whole cat amongst the pigeons, Roxy, which is iconic. And yeah, I think if she just kept her cool a little bit better, she could have got Rachel out, I think. But Rachel had too much of like a... I guess she was really good at defending herself. She was good at making these like master moves, and Harriet just couldn't. She just realised it wasn't going her way, so she was just like, vote me out and then listen to what I say. And unfortunately they didn't until like episode 11, which is really annoying, but yeah. Next is Adam. Adam, you're going in there. I genuinely don't know anything about you. All I know is that you hunt ghosts. You didn't do anything, you never got anything right, and I'm really sorry, but... yeah, I just don't know anything about you. I'm really sorry. You're just the one person in the series that I was like, huh? Who are you? Well, someone else, but they ended up getting a little bit more at the end. But yeah, just didn't know who this guy was. Next is Sam, and I'm going to put Sam up in amazing player. I think, I don't know. He had a good tactic. He, at the start, with getting out Judy. He just got a bit unfortunate that, obviously, he just seemed like too strong of a player, and a lot of people were a bit sus on him, and then he just went and got that shield when he didn't need to, which was a bit like, oh. But I think Sam was a good player. He made a lot of good moves, but yeah, I don't know if I should put him in good or amazing. I think when I put more people in, I'll put him like near the bottom, because I'm not really sure. But you know, he was a good player, and I'll give him credit. He launched an attack on the faithful, managed to get them out, even though he didn't mean to. He thought she was a traitor. But next is Jessie, and I'm gonna put Jessie up in iconic player. I probably need to stop putting a lot of people in here, but it's okay. Jessie was just, incredible. She was just so like lovely with she just seemed like a really lovely person. She really raised awareness for having a stammer, which was also great. She was on to Stephen for episodes straight, and just no one would listen to her, and it was so annoying. But her evidence towards Stephen was correct as well. I think a lot of people like Maddie, it was like some of her evidence was a bit ugh. But her evidence towards Stephen was all correct, and it was all good, and she was just like really good faith. Say she's just below Harriet just because she only got 1. She voted for Fiona, but that was for the whole Library 5 theory. Just a little bit like she was a little bit stuck on the Library 5 theory, but it was correct, and there was 2 in there. But if that was like a wrong theory, that would have been really like bad for her game. Like, well done, Jessie. Incredible player. Next is Ellie, and I'm going to put Ellie in meh. I kind of want to put her in good player, but I don't know what she did that was good. She didn't like vote for like Fiona or anything, when most people did. She didn't think it was Rachel. She thought it was Stephen, but she never told anyone that because she was worried. But I'm like, just go for it. Like, I did enjoy most of her. I felt like she was a little bit like her and Ross thing. I was like, can you get your revenge, please? Like, go after Stephen, but she never did. She just kind of just sat back and was like, oh yeah, I agree with you. But she never did anything so crazy that was like, oh wow, you know, she never led a banishment, and her own downfall was because, and she just broke down at that last round table, which was like really hard to see. She just needed to fight her way a bit more, I think. I don't really know. Next is Matthew, and I'm just going to put him in good player. I didn't think he did anything like super amazing. The only good thing he did was like recruit me, which I thought was a really smart move because it kind of made the Traitors a little bit on edge about him. But him and Ellie, they both were like, I think it's Stephen, but they never did anything about it. And it's just like, nah. He was also so stuck on Jade for ages. And like, he always had James on him, which was a little bit annoying. His plan to get recruited was like a really smart move, but he just felt a little bit like, he just kept on saying, I'm waiting to be recruited. And it just kind of got a little bit like, ugh, after a little while. But like, enjoy him. I didn't know who he was for the first few episodes. Next is Roxy, and you're going in bad player. There's a lot to say on Roxy. Yep, she kind of was sticking up for Hugo. It was Judy, which made her really angry, and then she just started going after a bunch of people. She went after James. Her first vote was for James, and her last vote was for James. And she only voted for. I think the only reason why she went for Fiona was because she was following Rachel around like a lapdog. She trusted Rachel and Stephen way too much. It was like kind of crazy. Like her dying words were, "I hope Rachel and Stephen win because I believe they're faithful." And it's just like, she made me laugh about how bad she was at the game. Because I remember once she's like, "I don't want to be taken for a fool," and I was just like, I do kind of take you for a fool, Roxy, if I'm going to be honest. I think she was like really nice and stuff, but yeah, you were kind of the person that we kind of took as a mug from this series. But the only person you voted for, the only trait you voted for was Fiona, and that's just because you were following Rachel around. And you kept on complimenting her and following her around, which was kind of funny. And the whole Harriet thing was really hilarious. And when you came into the kitchen and was like, Harriet, I think your behaviour was disgusting. And I just started laughing because Harriet was just like, no. Next is James, and I'm going to put James in meh. James, he managed to make it so far, but the only reason he was only good faithful because he was so bad. And I think a lot of time at the end, people just got really irritated with him. And the term like bad faithful or like incredible traitor was always used about him. And he spent like his last he went after Roxy and Matthew and Reese like so hard. And then when he got to the last episode, he was like, oh, it's Rachel for I don't know why. And it was just like, oh, okay. And then he spends his like defense when he's the chest of chance thing, being like, oh, it's Rachel for this reason. I'm like, you're supposed to defend yourself here. Defend yourself, because that's the reason why Jack changed his vote, because he didn't buy what you were saying. And yeah, it's just tough. I did really enjoy James though. He was so funny. Like, I put him in like iconic for like entertainment, but I'm doing this based on like gameplay and stuff. So next is Jade, and I'm putting Jade up in amazing player because I just really enjoyed her. She was one of my favourite, like, faithful, like, near the end, like, after, like, Jessie and Harriet, because she was just, I'm gonna put her above Sam, actually. Basically, she was just, like, her defense, like, I know it kind of weakened at the end, but she kept going. Round table after round table, she kept on defending herself, she kept on keeping calm and keeping cool, even though sometimes she just lost it a bit, but we can't blame her. She had to defend herself from Amanda, and then the whole detective thing just kept on being brought up, and it was just, it was hard for her. But in some ways I think she kind of got unlucky. Jade changing her vote at the end there, wow, like, incredible. And the fact that she made it to final 5 after being so suspected from right as soon as she took the blindfold off from Amanda, I think we have to give credit where credit's due to Jade. She was just incredible faithful. Next is Faraz, and I'm also going to put Faraz, I might put Faraz in amazing pair because he didn't really think it was Fiona or Hugo. He didn't really do anything for the majority of the game until he was like, it's Rachel, and he just led that attack on her, which I thought was just like, so, oh yes, Faraz has got it. Faraz is for the Christie, you know, he's got a name now. And he voted for Stephen earlier on in the series, actually. He always has doubts about Stephen, and he always had that. He just kind of drops his suspicions on Rachel, and then he goes after Stephen. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that he changed his mind about Rachel, but I don't really know if he could have stopped Jack from siding with Stephen. I'm not sure what would have happened, but, you know, he voted for Rachel and Stephen, and at some points in the game, you know, he didn't trust them 100%. Now, the only person he did fully trust was Jack at the end there, which was 100% correct. So, yeah. Jack is going to go in meh. There's a lot of people in meh. I just have a lot of people in meh. Yeah, he didn't do anything, and then he just randomly goes after Rachel in episode 11, and I'm like, okay, where'd this come from? And then he just kind of he changes his vote for some reason, and it's just because he's more swayed by what she says, and that he didn't do anything, and he never really led his own attack on people. You know, he always followed James, or he always followed, you know, Faraz or whatever. And then in the final, it's just like he was like, I'm going for Rachel for starters, and then I'm just gonna see what I'm gonna do with the other people. And he always believed, you know, she was gonna go out, and they just never seemed to notice, like, why is she still here? And you know, he trusted Steven so blindly that it was just hard to watch with him. And then he got to final three, and you could just tell the way he was looking at Steven. He was like, "You've written Rachel down, and we're gonna split the money." And it just voted by Steven. He just looked like he couldn't believe it. He was just so blinded by trust, which was something you shouldn't be as a faithful. You should try and block that away. I know it's hard, but you should try your best to kind of like block that away. I don't think he did a very good job of that. But he did get one traitor, you know, he kind of thought it was Rachel. He kept on going, he stuck to his convictions, unlike Faraz, which is something I do give him credit for, but he was just meh, you know. Next is Steven, and I'm going to put Steven all the way up in iconic player. He was just amazing. No, he wasn't very good strategically, but he played an incredible social game, and the fact that he had all that heat on him and Rachel just stuck together, they worked together, and it was just an incredible thing to see. And it was just like incredible television. I think what I give him credit for is that the fact that he had just such great social bonds with Jack, Jade, especially, and then other people as well, like James and stuff. He had the game in his hands at the end because of how well he played it. And how well he just kept these people next to him. He had to blindside his people at the end, but, you know, he just played such a good social game. And he never was, like, super close to being voted out. There's only that one vote in, like, episode, I think, like, 5, where he had, like, 3 votes. And then it's, like, split, like, 5 votes for 2 other people. But I never really felt like his defense was good. But something about the way he just played for himself, he had his own little strategy. I thought that was just incredible. And he is iconic. Next is Rachel, and she is going at the top. She is probably, like, in my opinion, she's the best traitor in the whole show. Some people will argue Harry, but I think she's the best. I just think the way that she, at the start, she went after Ross, making her look like she was just a loud but dumb faithful, and then she gets, like, blindsided by Fiona. She deals with Fiona incredibly well. She has some great comebacks to Fiona, which I thought was so funny. And then next thing was Harriet, and then she just managed to keep her cool, keep her calm, which I think a lot of traitors couldn't have done with the whole Harriet thing. She managed to keep going throughout the day. She laid out a good defense, but she didn't push the heat back on Harriet. She put it back on Jade, which made her look faithful. And she always very, like, stuck up for Steven in the background. And the whole thing with keeping Amanda close seemed to work. And then she gets to when Steven murders Jesse. A couple of people are saying his name. So she pushes Ellie. She gets Ellie banished. And Steven doesn't get a single vote. And that was just incredible. Like, how the way people would listen to her in the early, like, most of the game was just incredible. And the fact that Fiona and Harriet both went after her and they just didn't, like, pay attention to that was just amazing. All faithfuls in episode 11 all thought it was her. And she doesn't go. She gets Chest of Chance because she always managed to persuade one that it isn't her. And she gets the Chest of Chance and she manages to go her way, which is, yes, a bit of luck, but there's luck. The whole game is luck, you know? Being on the show is lucky. No, everything is luck-based. Logically, she should go out next. All the 3 faithfuls left all think it's her. But she manages to just change Faraz's mind, make Faraz go, let's vote for Jade. She gets Steven on board with that. The 3 of them vote Jade. Jade goes. Then, logically, Jack and Faraz was like to Jack earlier that day, I'll vote with you, Rachel, next. And he doesn't, because she manages to persuade him to vote Steven. And her and Steven both vote Faraz, and Faraz is gone. And then at the end, Josie has to rely on Steven for that last vote, but both of them just deserved it so much, and their friendship was just incredible to watch and amazing television. So yeah, that is my tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any disagreements in the comments, please just put it down and I will listen to your points and, like, comment on them and show my understanding of what I think, because it's obviously I can't put every single thought and idea into a video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and thanks for watching. Bye.